How's it going, guys? It's Najam. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you my Waybar configuration on Hyprland. So as you can see, this is Hyprland. Let's get started. So let's go ahead and open both of these up. Now on the left over here, you got the configuration, and on the right side, you have the style sheet. Now my Waybar configuration is very simple. I used to have it right in the middle, but I decided to go with a full length bar. As well as the theme on my Hyprland configuration, I've got it matched to, in theme wise it's to the same, so I've got the background colors and everything on. The other thing is it has a shadow over there, and I've matched it to the shadows on the windows in the Hyprland, and as you can see it goes all the way through, all the way up there. And as you can see, it's also floating as well. So I'm just gonna show you how I've managed to do that. Now on the left side, let's have a look on the we got this works with Sway as well, and also Hyprland. So if you load up Sway, you can load the same configuration and it will load up and all these will work. So on the left you have the workspaces, so you got Sway workspaces or the Hyprland workspaces, which is this one, and you got the mode switch, which is when you resize it and it shows over here if it's in the resize mode. You got the scratch pad, which I don't use, and all these others I don't really use, I just left them in there. Now in the center modules, you've got just the window name. So this is again for both of them. So it's right over here. If I go into this, you'll see that it changes. And on the right side, we got just the main stuff. Now I did get rid of network, which was in here. I did use it, but now I've got this working, which is the network manager applet. So I've just gotten rid of the network module over here. You can add it back in if that's your thing. So I've just left a note here, so in case I wanted to add it back in, I can just put this in here. In the middle you got the name of the window, and on the right side you got all the status stuff. So this is a status bar. You've got the CPU, you've got the RAM usage, you've got the battery power, you've got the brightness, you got the volume control for pulse audio, you got the date and the time, and also then you have the tray over there. So one thing I can't figure out is, and I did manage to fix it, but it works in a different mode, is that this these tooltips, they behind the window, and I can't. It works on Sway. On Sway they're in the front, which is nice. On Hyprland, if you use the hidden mode, then they're on the front, which is just weird, but I can't. So now it's in the dock mode, as you can see, and that means it's going to be taking up space at the bottom. Now IPC doesn't work on Hyprland as far as I know, that's for Sway. It seems to just be at the back behind the windows, which is a bit annoying. But if you go ahead and look at the tooltips, you can see you got the CPU usage as well as the RAM usage, and you got the battery power, you've got the brightness, which doesn't have one, and then you have pulse audio. If I click that, you get the pulse audio volume control, and then you have the date and time, which props up the calendar, which is very, very nice. And you got the tray icons, which I can get into and then mess about with. So most of these are just left on default. As you can see, I've got some spacing between the modules so that it doesn't look all clustered up. I do have the layer on top, but it still doesn't seem to put the tooltips on top. It's just at the bottom. And I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through these so you can go ahead and copy them. Now for WLR workspaces, you do want on-click activate on. I think this is it. And also, and this means that it will work when you click the buttons over here. Here's the tray icon size. You can change it, and you can change the spacing between the tray icons. You got the clock timer. This, if you want to go ahead and copy all this, you can go ahead and copy it all across. You got the battery level, and here's the network. I think what we all want to see is just how I've managed to make it look the way it does. Now originally I did have the margins on the bottom and the left and the right. This is what gives it the floating look. If I take these off, well, they're not in use anymore because I've got a different way of working out. You can make it look like floating like it is right now. So if that's what you're struggling with, which is what I did, because I kept putting in the style sheet, it just didn't work. I've managed to put it in the config file, and it did make it floating. But I wanted to add a shadow. Now when you have it floating, you can't have the shadow out of the Waybar because that's out of the whatever. I'm not going to explain it. Now let's get on to how I've managed to design it and that. So if you look over here, you got the font size which is at 10. You can change it to make it bigger, so if it's easier to read. And this is the color of the text. Now the other thing is the main window of Waybar is over here. So this is what I put in, and that window is inside the box, and that box is basically touching the edges of the display, but you can't see it because it is transparent. And inside that box is the Waybar that's running, which is this. And so as you can see, I've added borders around it, margin on the top, bottom, and the left and the right, and that's made it look like it's floating. So this is actually, it just looks like it's floating. It's actually inside a box which you can't see. Now you need to do this if you want to add a shadow. So this is a box shadow. So the box is the Waybar here, and I've just managed to add a shadow, which is this command over here. So you can do the offset of the shadow, and then the color of the shadow, as well as the opacity over here. And the background color is the background color of the Waybar. Now if you notice, it has margin on top. This is because if you look at the corner, I might have to zoom in. If you do have no margin on it, it does look like it's cut off the shadow. So I didn't want that look, so I've gone with this. Now as far as the other edges go, they are 10, which is the same as Hyprland's edges, so the gaps in the middle of the windows. So that's why it looks like that. I've matched it so it looks about the same. Now this gap here, you can't make it look the same, because you either get that dodgy looking shadow, or you get a bit for its bigger gap, which you can't really notice. So I've just left it as it is. That's why it's 4. I'd like to have it on 0, but then you get a dodgy looking shadow, which just looks like a Chinese knockoff. The other thing is the border radius. Now this is what you want to use to round off the corners, and because I've got rounded corners on Windows, I also want that on the Waybar configuration, and so this is what you use for that. I believe 10 pixels is the maximum. Apart from that, the other thing is, if you look over here, you got the buttons. So you define these in the configuration. So this is the workspace buttons. You can have these as whatever you want. I've just got them as they are like this because I prefer this look. It looks a lot more simple. And if you go down here, you have the different modes of the buttons over here. So workspace is button. This is normal. You got padding on it. You got what happens when you hover over it, which is, I think as it is the same as that one. Focused, which is a different button, which is this one here, and that is like that. It just looks different, as in it's exactly the same, but that's because I want it the same. And also I think I've left them all as exactly the same because it's just very simple like this. And you also have the urgent one as well, which is this one, which I've never seen, but oh, that's off, right? That's why. Okay, now the mode switch is basically this bit that pops up when you say resizing. And then if you go down, you do have all the other bits, and all of these have a padding of 4. And these all, I think you can leave them as they are. I have all these, I've just left all these in because they don't really look all that different, but you can see that they just got background color and then the water pixel, which is all the same. So they're all the same like that because I've got a very simple design on. Now you do have a margin on the tray, because otherwise it gets very close to the edge and it goes over the rounded corners. Now if I scroll a bit up, you can see there is padding on the workspaces button as well. So this moves it just a little bit across so that it doesn't get really flush in the corner. So overall it's a very simple design. It seems to work for me. I do like the look of it. If I go ahead and open up multiple windows, you can see that it just works really well. So this is a very simple design. If you guys have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.